Hello, and welcome to Celebrating Barrington's History, our tricentennial. This beautiful bronze medallion made by local artist Ted Hale was created specifically for Barrington's 300th anniversary of its establishment as a town. The land on which our town rests had been called Solums or Pokanoket by the Native American tribes who'd lived here for hundreds of years. Not long after the Pilgrims arrived in Plymouth in 1620, the native chief Massasoit negotiated a peace with the Englishmen which lasted over 40 years. Tensions over land use began to arise, however, and mistrust began to grow. At a place called Knockham Hill on 100 Acre Cove, a Baptist minister decided to establish a settlement. Not long after, violence began to erupt, forcing the settlers to flee. Subsequently, in 1675, what became known for Massasoit's son as King Philip's War quickly spread throughout the region. The English settlers then returned to our area to build a meeting house at Tyler Point, hoping to establish it as a trading area, but religious differences and disputes over boundaries soon began to surface. Thus, in the year 1717, a group of local residents petitioned the Massachusetts Bay Colony for the establishment of a new town, which was granted and named after the governor's brother, John Shute Barrington. Interestingly, in 1747, Barrington was merged with the town of Warren, and the two then actually became part of the state of Rhode Island. In 1770, however, the two towns were separated, which led to the Barrington Rhode Island we know today. So as the year 2017 approached, a town committee called the Barrington 300 was formed to honor the town's tricentennial. Generous sponsors were treated to a preview of the year's events at the McCulloch Center for the Arts on the campus of St. Andrew's School. The Barrington Business Association worked with the town hall to create Barrington 300 banners to be mounted on the lampposts which line the town's major streets. Our media sponsor, East Bay Newspapers, with the assistance of members of the 300 Committee, produced this commemorative booklet for the occasion. In addition to many then and now photos, it featured in-depth interviews with several longtime residents. The Barrington Preservation Society produced this outstanding collection of archival photographs and even turn-of-the-century family photos as one of the Arcadia Press Images of America series. The Barrington 300 Committee planned an entire year filled with engaging events. These began with a series of presentations by local historian Dr. Van Edwards and focused on documented accounts of the earliest contacts made with the English settlers. In the spring, plans for the Memorial Day Parade had featured a tractor and a recently acquired authentic Barrington militia flag from 1812, which had actually been carried in the historic Dorr's Rebellion. One of the more popular events were bus tours of historic homes, churches, and neighborhoods throughout town, narrated by members of the Preservation and Historical Societies. Our town is quite fortunate to have many homes still standing, which date from as early as 1707. Shown here is the home of General Thomas Allen, who actually fought in the American Revolutionary War. Many of the earliest houses of worship or churches in New England often also served as colonial meeting houses. Thus, some of the most important meetings, business transactions, and often judicial matters were held here. This building, built in 1806, the Barrington Congregational Church, also served as Barrington's colonial meeting house and was an essential part of what was once known as Old Barrington Village. Ferries once crossed the Barrington River for civic, business, as well as religious gatherings. The town of Barrington was actually an important source of news and commerce between the colonial towns of Newport and Providence. Interestingly, over time, several taverns grew up around Barrington's meeting house in Old Barrington Village. The Bowen Tavern, for example, shown here in a much later photo, was originally licensed in the town council meetings of 1770. The original Kinnicut Tavern, though now a private residence, can still be seen on the Wampanoag Trail. Taverns were often important stops for stage and mail coaches, carrying passengers and vital information between towns. Our town actually had a very interesting history regarding the use of alcohol. A lively discussion entitled A Spirited History of Barrington covered its use and regulation from the colonial period through Prohibition and up till much more recent time. Knowledgeable members of the town's cemetery commission set up tables and tours which highlighted some of the most important parts of Barrington's history and many of its most influential citizens. Barrington, not unlike many towns in New England, has grave markers that date back to the early 1700s. The colonial preacher, represented here, was perhaps the most influential citizen of the town. Here are grave markers of Barrington soldiers who actually fought in the Revolutionary War. Here, as one of the tour guides, a soldier discusses Barrington's commitment to the Union cause in the Civil War. Through the 17 and into the early 1800s, most of Barrington had relied on an agricultural and fishing economy. One of the most significant changes to the town, however, came in the 1850s with a rail system which connected Barrington to Providence. This led to an influx of new residents seeking coastal areas for summer cottages, as well as the subdivision of much of the former farmlands into new housing plots. The summertime bicycle tours pointed out several historic markers along the bike path which highlighted the significant growth in commerce. This Brickyard Pond marker, for example, shows how the railroad was pivotal to the development of the Nayet Brick Company, which proved to be a booming commercial enterprise and attracted large numbers of Irish and Italian immigrants to the area around Maple Avenue. By 1870, there was even a need for 3 train stations to accommodate the growing population. The Bay Spring area saw the establishment of the Rhode Island Lace Works, which made wedding dresses, hats, veils, and curtains, and the Onawamscot Mill, which made cotton goods and later synthetic materials for the interiors of automobiles. The Bay Spring Yacht Club was also located here, establishing a long-cherished tradition of boating, which continues to this day. Going back to our beginnings, however, and to honor the native tribes of this region, a powwow picnic was held in beautiful Haynes Park. The event included current members of the Wampanoag and Pokanoket tribes who traced their ancestry back to Assamaquin, performing their native music and dance. As fall approached, excitement grew in anticipation of the Grand Gala. The crowning event of the year was the Gala celebration, held in the beautiful Rhode Island Country Club in October. Members of the Barrington High School Jazz Ensemble performed in front of the fireplace, and a sumptuous buffet dinner followed in the dining room. Following a series of award presentations, guests danced the night away to live music performed by a local Rhode Island dance band. The most important event of the year, however, was the historical reenactment of the town's founding on the steps of the town library. All eagerly awaited the arrival of the proclamation issued by the Massachusetts Bay House of Representatives on November 18, 1717.
Let it be known that Barrington is the surname of the brother of Samuel Shute, governor of the province of Massachusetts Bay. This is very good news.
3 cheers for the newcomer!
Residents then moved inside the library to the new Salem Auditorium for more cheers.
Hip, hip, hooray!
And recognition by Rhode Island Secretary of State.